Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the SpursRelated YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone's doing very well today. Today, we thought we'd do a quick little live stream talking about everything that's going on with the club and maybe what isn't going on with the club at the moment. Centre backs, Harry Kane, what is going on? Tonight, I am joined alongside Jack of SpursRelated, as always. I'm going to flip it like I normally do, Jack. And Andre should be on his way, but Jack, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, James. Well, slightly disappointed that there's been a lot of transfer inactivity on Tottenham's behalf. But you know what? We're talking Spurs. There's a lot to get into. And yeah, it's been good to be alongside yourself, James. And you love that right-hand side, clearly.
Yeah, exactly that. If you are new to the channel, please do make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you are back again on this channel as a Spurs Relatable, please do hit the like button for us this evening and do comment in the live chat or in the offline chat your thoughts on everything going on at the moment. But let's see who's in here, and then we will start talking about the situation of Harry Kane and what is coming. We've got Felix in here. He's saying, hey, guys. Felix, always good to see you, mate. First in here tonight. There's 20 or so of you watching at the moment. Maybe those numbers will grow. And if you guys have just joined the chat, smash your comments in about what you're thinking. We've also got the first last saying Kolo Muani to Tottenham. Rando Kolo Muani is a big fan by the looks of things. And Felix is saying, is that new haircut fresh today? Got myself a little haircut, treated myself. I think Jack needs one soon as well, maybe.
Oh,
I think that's where Andre's coming from as well. It must be haircut day. Jack missed the memento, but listen, hopefully we'll still see him in front of those curtains on his glasses very, very soon. Anyway, that's enough of the banter. Guys, let's talk Harry Kane and what is going on. I mean, Jack, I'll let you start, of course, but today we heard from Fabrizio Romano about crucial hours, apparently, in the Harry Kane saga. Daniel Levy apparently meeting Bayern Munich representatives. We haven't heard anything since this morning from any tier one sources, really. Jack, what on earth is going on, mate?
James, it's beginning to frustrate me more every day. At the start, I really didn't mind the saga because I was quite convinced Harry Kane was going to stay. But the more these hours go on and Bayern Munich keep prodding their nose in and keep saying he's going to be a Bayern Munich player, as their chairman come out and said, it's just really frustrating me, to be honest. There is no clear direction which Tottenham are going into. I'm surprised that we have any clear replacements lined up. And it just feels like Tottenham have no vision. And it's really frustrating me. At the start of the window, we were saying there's going to be this massive clear out. Tottenham are going to have money to spend on new players, new centre halves, potentially, like you say, get a replacement in early for Kane. When Tottenham spent that money on Bale, James, we got about £90 million. And we spent that money before we even sold Bale. With Tottenham right now, we're playing the waiting game. We're waiting for Bayern Munich to stump up the cash. It looks like the direction it's heading in is that Tottenham are willing to let Kane go for the right fee. But we're going to be stuck with no real replacement, no real quality. And Tottenham could be looking at a real problem for the upcoming season. And right now, I'm usually very optimistic. I like to stay positive. But it's really hard to, and we really need to dive in deep into what the main issue is here.
Exactly. I mean, not that I'd necessarily agree that when we did that with spending on Lamella, Paulinho, and whoever else we wasted that money on, Soldado, was that the right move? I don't think so. But I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying? We actually we had a plan. We went for the targets we identified. They were the wrong targets, albeit we did sign Eriksen, who was probably worth £100 million player at one point. So it's not all bad. Lamella was maybe a Tottenham cult hero, but didn't necessarily bring the goods that we all thought he was going to.
Jack, the only thing I'd say about this is, in my opinion, and I think a lot of Spurs fans would agree, we should be spending this now. We're at this stage where we've got this new stadium. We are this big club. We should be spending on the centre backs without having to sell Harry Kane. Exactly. We should be buying 2-class centre backs. You can't have a football team and not have centre backs that are competent enough to defend against most teams well. We have centre backs that can't defend against Bournemouth and got absolutely ran ragged by that guy that came on and we lost 3-2. We have centre backs that got undone by Wolves who were out of form and came to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and got the most easy 2-0 win. This is just two examples of many, many examples over the last 2 years where our centre backs, our defence, both fullbacks and centre backs, have let us down so much that it doesn't matter. We've got the best striker in the world and one of the best wingers up front in the world up front. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter because we'll concede 70 something goals in a season, and that is just criminal. Absolutely criminal.
Exactly. And I think, James, that the main problem here is that we're really at the start of the window. All the noise we're going to get is that Tottenham are looking for opportunistic buys. So we brought in Maddison early. We identified Raya, and I was happy for us to take a Vicario if that meant we were going to adopt quickly and get in centre halves. But we didn't do that. We didn't do that at all. We've pragnated. And we haven't brought in the centre halves like Mickey van der Ven, Tapsoba that we were apparently going to act on really quick. It's been 3 weeks since we started getting those daily updates from Fabrizio Romano, and nothing has happened. I honestly don't know what's going on with Tottenham. It's extremely frustrating, and I really hope Daniel Levy and the Tottenham recruitment team have a plan. Otherwise, we could be sitting here in 6 months' time with no Harry Kane and no real future for Tottenham. Because if we end up, James, in the bottom half, Tottenham are not going to be an attractive prospect, even with this great stadium we have.
Jack, to be honest with you, I disagree with what you said there. I don't think we're an attractive prospect right now. Not at all. Especially if we lose Harry Kane. If you look at that team without Harry Kane, I looked at it today. I thought, wow, we are genuinely not finishing higher than 10th. And that's me being honest. That's me being deadly honest. And that's a concern. Because if you go into that season with that defence and that almost lack of attacking prowess at number 9, okay, you could argue Sonny will chip in with a few goals, maybe Decky, Maddison, of course, but Richarlison isn't scoring 25, 30 goals in a season. And even if you put Son up front, he's not a natural number 9. So we've got a big problem there as well. But the defence, I mean, like I said earlier, it doesn't matter who you've got up front. If you're starting a season with Eric Dyer at left centre-back and you're starting with Romero at right centre-back who needs a competent defender as a partnership, we are screwed. Genuinely. We are big. This stream feels very bony, guys. So let us know how you're feeling as well, because I'm feeling quite frustrated. Jack is as well, I can tell. Hopefully we can keep the stream a bit more, buzzing. But at the end of the day, we're Tottenham fans. We're naturally going to get annoyed with how the situation is at the moment, especially as we've heard. There's no one that's come out about Harry Kane. There's no one it's just a mess. It's an absolute media mess because the press can just say what they like about it. Because the manager doesn't really know what's going on, clearly, Ange Postecoglou, and you've got to feel sorry for him coming in with this absolute just rubbish management in terms of from above. That's my personal opinion, Jack. I mean, it's in disarray. Someone needs to come out at Tottenham and go, Harry Kane's not for sale, or Harry Kane is potentially for sale. There is, like when Gareth Bale was sold, we weren't surprised, were we? At the moment, I have no idea if Kane is genuinely going or not. I'm probably more towards the fact that he's probably going to be going,
Yeah.
but also I still don't know.
And do you know what, James? I totally echo your thoughts in the fact that there's got to be a clear vision. It's unfair on the Tottenham fans. It's unfair on the squad, and it's really unfair on Ange Postecoglou. You have got Tottenham's greatest striker for the past decade, probably one of definitely the best Tottenham player I've seen in my lifetime, probably yours, James, alongside of Gareth Bale. He has given everything to this club, and he deserves a clear structure on what his year is going to look like as well. The best way I see it is when Enzo Fernandez went to Chelsea, Benfica president come out and said, he's staying unless you pay the £105 million. And that's what happened in the end. They bit the bullet and they signed him. That's what Chelsea did. Tottenham need to do the same to Bayern Munich because right now we're getting bullied by their chairman. Bayern Munich think they can gang up on Tottenham. He clearly wants to go, so let's try and get him for 80 or 90 million euros, which is not enough money for a player Harry Kane's services. Or, if we do think it's enough money, sell him. Stop haggling because we need to identify the replacements early and we need to bring in a suitable number 9. Otherwise, like you say, it's going to be an even more disappointing season than it was last year and what it would be with Harry Kane anyway, because we still have no centre-halves. I keep moaning. I'm never, James, you know me, I generally always look for the positives. But right now, Tottenham are in serious trouble and I genuinely believe that. And I think if there's no clear vision, the structure above, the hierarchical people above don't know what they're doing. It needs to be sorted out fast because we've got 13 days till the start of the Premier League season.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just chaos. Let's get some people in the chat's opinion on this. Doris Pina, I agree with this one. He's saying every top player leaves eventually. I
Mm.
don't like that they're pushing the narrative. We have to sell Kane to get defenders. This is exactly what I was saying, wasn't it, Jack? Like, what? Why are we saying? It's almost like we're waiting to sell Kane, and then we'll go, "Oh, look, we've signed Tapsoba, we've signed Van der Ven." I mean, it's absolutely boring. Glenn's saying so many other teams are making big moves with hardly any huge money amounts being spent. It's unsettling. Completely agree.
And just to add to that, James, just
Come on.
quickly, Raya is about to be signed potentially by Arsenal for £40 million when they've just spent £32 million on Ramsdale the year before. And a lot of people would have thought he had a relatively solid year, thought he was a good keeper. And they're going to add a 40 million keeper to add to him. That was originally Tottenham's #1 goalkeeper target. It's extremely frustrating
At Arsenal,
seeing
yeah.
your rivals spending 65 million on Kai Havertz, 40 million on Joran Timber, one of the world's probably highly promising centre halves and can also play fullback. And as well as that, they've signed Declan Rice for over £100 million. Tottenham, when we were in this situation under Pochettino, were one of the most exciting football teams in the world, definitely in Europe. We were climbing the ladder. We could have easily won a Premier League, and we signed no one. Arsenal have just spent £200 million. For me, there's got to be a clear vision. There's got to be someone coming out and saying, like Paratici did, what is Tottenham's process? What do they want to do? Where do they see us coming in 5 years? Because right now, Arsenal's trajectory is going up like this and Tottenham are falling down. And that's not where we want to be, especially when we're paying the highest season ticket prices in Europe.
Yeah. It's exactly that. And do you know what? Season ticket renewal, notice how they peppered it, all the marketing with Harry Kane and everything else, and got people to re-sign up. Well, actually, maybe the club knows that he was going after all, and it was a bit of a marketing ploy to get people to sign. Think how many people wouldn't sign a season. Obviously, the diehard ones will, no matter what.
Mm.
But some people genuinely will only buy a season ticket if they think we're going to do well next season. There will be a lot of fans that will go, actually, we're not going to do well. We haven't signed new defenders. We haven't got Harry Kane. I'm not going to spend the best part of £2,000 on a season ticket. That is what a lot of people would be like. And
Well, James, to give you
I think they're entitled to do that, though, Jack.
Yeah, well, to give you a rough idea, James, I'm probably going to be heading to university, and I was really excited to see Postecoglou football because it seemed everything we were hearing is he's this great attacking coach, which I genuinely believe he is. With the firepower of Harry Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Maddison, you genuinely believe that's exciting. But if you take Kane out of that equation, with no adequate centre halves being added alongside Romero, you're looking at a mid-table finish. And for a university student paying over £1,500 for his season ticket to go every week when he might not even be able to go, that's a lot of money. And that's just how smart the hierarchical structure are. And don't get me wrong, I think Levy is an astute businessman, and usually he doesn't put Tottenham completely in the dark. Yes, we know he hasn't invested at the right times and he hasn't added. But if we are not replacing Kane with someone of the ilk of a Kola Mawani, or I would love to see Ivan Tony after his ban, and then no centre halves on top of that, honestly, James, talking it out loud, it's like we're in a serious problem. We've got a serious problem on our hands.
Big problem. But one problem is solved as we've got in the back end ready, back from his haircut as well. His haircut
Oh,
Mondays, it must be. We've got Andre all the way from Canada. Andre, how you doing, mate? Looking fresh, mate.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Glad to see you boys here, all the Spurs relatables. I know that obviously this video is not as good of a, I guess, in good news as we'd like. This entire story of Harry Kane has been ongoing for weeks, and it's honestly killing my soul because at this point, something just needs to happen. Either he needs to just, a deal needs to be made or stay. Like this uncertainty is making everyone very drained. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Yeah. Kev said he's frustrated as well. Exactly that. Felix is saying if you're starting striker, he's Richarlison, but in the window, I'm cancelling my season ticket. He was also asking where do you sit, Jack? You sat in East Stand, isn't it, or West
East
Stand?
Lower. I sit East Lower. So any
East Lower.
Spurs relatables want to come and have a chat, they're more than welcome, because I've actually met a couple people that say they love the channel. So meeting you guys is great, just to have a great chat about Tottenham, and hopefully we'll be talking about a more positive start to the season, as much as it is a lot of frustration being built up tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact, Gyro's Peanut, you only ever speak facts, mate. I absolutely love it. He said there's a reality of Dyer starting the first game. He just said there's no hope with this ball. They just don't care enough to really push the boat out. They're just a money-making business. I mean, I can't disagree with anything he's saying. He's saying every top player leaves eventually. I don't like that they're pushing their narrative, which is what we were saying earlier about the defenders, Andre. What do you think of this? Because people are saying if Kane goes, then okay, at least we can buy 2 centre backs. But I'm saying, and a lot of people in the chat are saying, we should be buying these defenders anyway. We're a big club. We've got this big stadium. If we're a football club, you need defenders. You shouldn't have to sell your star striker for £100 million to get centre backs in, right?
Yeah, I think both deals needs to be sort of they need to be dealt as separate things, right? I know that bringing in money is important, and that is its own issue, right? The fact that you cannot have one of your best players in the Tottenham shirt for like I don't know how many years leave on a free. That's a whole other issue. But getting defenders has been our priority since the beginning of the window. The fact that right now our defenders to play beside Romero is either Dyer, Sanchez, Davies, or Tanganga, or is that everybody? Did I name everybody? But yeah, Roden. There we go. The fact that those are the people that we have to choose from, that's an issue, honestly. And not to put them down because they've done many good things for this club. At the end of the day, if you really want to think of it as a whole, no disrespect to them, but if we're trying to really compete at that next top level, you cannot just have Romero and then these guys. You got to bring someone new, a Tapsova, Van de Ven. I don't know what's happened with those deals. I don't know why we haven't bought any of them. And the fact that now there's this whole thing where we have to sell Kane to bring in money is ridiculous. Now, I don't know exactly what's happened with it's made things complicated because of what's happened with Joe Louis, right, recently. I don't know if that has anything to play with this. I don't know if him being in situations with the U.S. is going to sort of stall things here. But he was one of, if I remember just seeing somewhere that Joe Louis was the one that said to Daniel Levy, you're not letting him go for free. If he's not staying, he needs to go.
Yeah, exactly that. And that he mentioned that just before that whole saga about his indictment came out. And I think that's a bit weird as well, because, and this could almost like push the Levy out, Enoch out guys even further. Because if you think about it, if he said that because he knows he's going to have to pay 250, 300 million to get out of this, and he's saying you need to get some money for Kane, I'm not saying it's a complete flow where the money coming in from the club then goes to cover other stuff. But it's a bit funny how suddenly we have to sell Kane, even though, in my opinion, keeping Kane for another season is invaluable. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really sure. The whole situation with Joe Louis, I feel like it's not a priority. I don't think it affects Tottenham as much as we all are led to believe that it actually does. Because the more you go into it, the less responsibility Joe Louis actually has. So I actually don't believe in the story that Lewis is saying that we need to sell Kane, because Levy is the one who's in the football club each day and every day. And he's the one who I believe calls the shots. But we're going to have to wait and see. But the end of it really is, James, Harry Kane, we need to know sooner rather than later. When I say sooner rather than later, I think it has to be. Today is Monday. We need to know by Wednesday, really, whether he's going to be here or not, because we need enough time to have that replacement coming in straight away for a striker. And we need to have 2 centre-halves of a starting standard, really. So Van de Ven and Tapsoba to come in. Otherwise, the start of the season is going to be extremely worrying. I do still believe there's a possibility that Kane stays and we build on 2 centre-halves. And I also believe there's a possibility that Kane goes and we have an adequate replacement and 2 centre-halves, because you'd like to think Levy can't be so stupid, or the recruitment team can't be so stupid to believe that we've got the players to compete. Everyone can see Tottenham's defence is awful compared to the other top 6 around us. It genuinely is. It's so inadequate. Romero is a solid player, but if you're bringing in Dyer, you've still got Sanchez, Tanganga, the step down in class is so easy to see. And when you've got to want to play bombing fullbacks and free-flowing attacking football with a high line, how can you not see that? It's so frustrating to see. Bringing a centre halves now, find out what's happening with Kane sooner or later, and if it is Colin Mawani we want, if it is whoever, just go out there and spend the money.
Yeah, I also think to an extent, I don't know about what you guys think, but I think that this whole Kane thing, now that it's really stepped up to the way it is now, is the reason why all these signings are stalling. Because depending on what happens with Kane, if he goes, that is the trajectory of a transfer window completely changes. Obviously, we need defenders, but as you said, Jack, now we need to bring in a top striker. I know we have Richarlison. We've probably already talked about him multiple times about what he can bring. But this is all potential, right? At the end of the day, if you sell Kane, we have to find someone new. And that's going to completely change how we operate in this window. So I really do think we need to solve this now because we're kind of stalling to see what happens with Kane first.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
And I know this is mainly Kane dominated, just as a few of our videos have been for the Spurs relatables, but I think this is such a big moment in Spurs' history, signing our biggest ever goal scorer, potentially moving to Bayern Munich. It's a massive change for Tottenham. It really is. And I think it's important that we talk about the possibilities on who to bring in. Because if you actually look at how many points Harry Kane has won for Tottenham over the past decade, it's so much more than any other top striker. When Man City had Aguero in their prime, who was absolutely fantastic for them, I think I looked at the stats and Kane had won way more points for Tottenham than Aguero did. So you're looking at someone who's got to try and fill that void. And it's almost impossible. The only player on the market who you would say is probably performing as well as Kane recently, you've got Erling Haaland, who's just won the treble with Manchester City, and you've got a high-flying Victor Osimhen at Napoli, who Al Hilal have just bid £140 million for, and that is not going to happen with Tottenham. So the next bracket below that, you've got players like Kola Mawani. You've got an Evan Ferguson who is extremely exciting at Brighton, but you're asking a 20-year-old to come and fill that void, and a guy who's going to acquire a fee of about £70 million, probably knowing Brighton. We know they don't sell their players cheaply. It's such a high risk and maybe not even high reward.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing that's worrying too is that a lot of these prices for these players have been just inflated. Look at what Manchester United just did, 70 million plus add-ons for Højlund. Like that, now we want to get someone that's really good and established. That's going to be very difficult. That's going to be a lot of money. The only respect that I can have right now is the fact that Daniel Levy is staying strong on the fact that he wants close to 120 million pounds for Harry Kane, and he's not budging. Bayern has come in 3 times and probably going to come in a 4th time and add some add-ons in there to get him to that number. And by all means, he's your best player. You don't want to.
I agree, but I think, James, there's been a lack of news saying that Spurs are standing firm on this valuation. When you had Manchester City coming in for Tottenham, it feels like such a different scenario. Kane was pushing to go. City really wanted him, but Tottenham all along was like, if you don't meet that £150 million valuation, Harry Kane is going nowhere. Man City did not reach nearly that, and Harry Kane did not go. That's the end of it. With Tottenham, it's like we're open to sell. We want around 100 million, and we're constantly in negotiations with Bayern Munich. They had a meeting today. I feel like there needs to be a clear direction. I think someone like Alistair Gold, a Tottenham representative, or even a message from the board, and just say, finally, Tottenham are willing to part ways with Harry, but we need £110 million.
We're not getting 110. That's what I'm saying. Andre, that's what I was trying to say. Andre was trying to say 120 million. We're not even going to get. I don't even think we're going to get 100 for him. I generally don't.
But do you let him go for less than 100, James?
Of course I wouldn't. But I honestly don't trust what's happening at this club right now. I'm not even going to start mentioning names so it becomes whatever. So it becomes a debate about the ownership. I just don't trust what's happening at Tottenham at the moment in general, without pointing the finger at anyone. I have no idea. We have got, 10 days to the new season? 11 days to the new season? And we're still pissing about with centre-backs. 2 centre-backs. We haven't even got 1 centre-back yet. We've talked about Van der Ven. We've talked about Tapsoba. We've talked about Adebayo. We've talked about Bremer. We've talked about literally 10 centre-backs.
Yeah.
And we haven't even agreed personal terms with any of them. Apparently we did Van der Ven, but that went very quiet.
And then,
Sober, we were
James,
really
to add
close.
to that as well, you've got a
But
Chelsea side who have just signed Tottenham's probably best manager for the past decade, who spent £500 million, I think, one January transfer window, £700 million over 2 windows, signing Axel Diassi from Monaco for about £45 million to already add to an expensive back line in Badiashile, Thiago Silva, Wesley Fofana, who's just got interested, Trevor Chalobah. You've got so many expensive signings there and quality and depth in their centre halves, and they're just continuously adding and adding. And Tottenham, there's not even a starting lineup there that is willing to be improved on. Chelsea have got 4 or 5 centre halves, 4 centre halves that would probably start for Tottenham, and it's just incredibly frustrating to see when Chelsea are finishing 12th and still adding to these players and attracting these players to come in. And you just feel like Tottenham, when is it going to click? When is that light bulb moment going to happen? And you either want to be at the top competing with these teams, or you either admit the fact that, no, we don't have the financial power to outmuscle these guys.
We do have the financial power, though.
That's what I'm saying, James.
This is the bit that annoys me, Jack. No, because this is the bit that annoys me. We do have the financial power. We generated, revenue-wise, the 3rd most amount in any sports organisation in the world. We were the biggest in the world in football, right? We were only behind 2 NFL or NBA teams or whatever the sport is that no one really cares about. But we were behind them. We had more revenue than Man United, more revenue than Man City, more than Arsenal, and more than Chelsea, who are spending bloody billions, right?
Yeah.
So where does this money go? That's what I want to know, Jack.
I 100% agree with you,
I want to know. I don't care if it's Beyonce. Let me finish. I don't care if it's Beyonce coming to this stadium. I don't care if it's the Green Bay Packers. I do not care who it is. What I want to know is, if we're genuinely a football club at heart, where is the money going where we need a centre-back, 2 centre-backs, and we're still going, oh, but we might sell Kane for 100 million, so then we can get Tapsoba and Van der Ven. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. We are a football club. We're not an American football club. We're not a comedy show or a boxing arena or a stage for Beyonce. We are a football club, and we do not spend properly, and that is the end of that.
Look what Tottenham's doing to James, man.
Killing me.
Hey,
Every
Levy,
day I wake up
spend
and
some
it's
money.
just, crucial stages for Harry Kane. What about crucial stages for a centre-back? When is this? We've got 9 days till the season starts, and we haven't got a defence. Our defence is going to line up like this: Emerson Royale, Romero, Dyer, and whoever at left, Udogie. I mean, that is like
Ben Davies.
Bottom of the table Premier League stuff, and no one can tell me otherwise.
No, and I agree. I totally agree. I echo all your thoughts, and I've already said how many times it's extremely frustrating. I also believe that it's been proven multiple times that Tottenham don't financially invest when it's most needed, when it's needed most. Pochettino's come out and said, "What is the point of having this big fancy house if you have no furniture?" And the same is still happening today. When you've hired the new manager, Conte come out and said you can keep changing all the managers you want, but if nothing's changing, if you're not investing, then nothing's going to change. And we're here, like you say, I don't know if it's 13 days, 11 days to the start of the window, again, start of the Premier League season against Brentford. And we're sitting here saying the same thing we did last year, James. It's like extremely tiring, extremely frustrating. Like it's the same year on year out.
Don't get me wrong. Like this is what happens. I lose my head when we start talking about transfers and Tottenham. I'm pretty sure I lost my head last year about a similar thing, or when he was going to go in 2021. Do you know what? I've genuinely got to the point where it doesn't matter if Kane goes or stays. I mean, if he goes, we're in a lot of trouble. We are in a lot of trouble because how do you replace Harry Kane, like you were saying, Jack? But the overarching thing for me is that I wouldn't be this stressed if we'd sorted everything else. If we'd sorted our defence, we do need a number 6 as well. I've said this. We probably even need a number 8, and we definitely need some better fullbacks because I personally don't think that our fullbacks at the moment is enough depth. Maybe the starting ones are okay, but I'm still not fully convinced, right? So there is 4 or 5 more signings we should be making if we're serious with competing with Man City, which isn't even possible, but Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, everyone else, right?
Yeah.
And all we're talking about come 1st of August tomorrow. August, guys. August. The season starts in August, by the way. We're still talking about defenders, but it's brilliant for the Tottenham board because all we're talking about is Harry Kane and is he going to Bayern Munich and stuff. When actually, it doesn't matter if Harry Kane stays or goes. We won't get top 6 with Harry Kane in our team because the defense is so shit. We're going to concede 70 goals again, and everyone knows that.
Yeah, and the thing is, James, with delaying the inevitable whether Kane stays or goes, Kane doesn't want to be here. With Harry Kane in this team right now, James, we'd be extremely lucky to even finish in the top 6. Without Harry Kane, who knows where we're going to be? Without these centre halves, we keep saying it, and James, like you say, you've smashed that. Absolutely, that's a real worthy. I'm sure we'll get that up later because that was top tier. But like you say, centre halves. There's none there. There's none there that are capable of finishing in the top 6. Without Harry Kane, who knows where we're going to be? And we're repeating ourselves over and over again. I am now because I'm getting frustrated with what I'm talking about because there's no clear vision from Tottenham. There's no clear direction. It feels like the Tottenham fan base and the Tottenham team are so far apart. You bring in the likes of Maddison who try and bring good atmosphere to the club, but then you're ruining it by having no centre halves, no clear direction on the Harry Kane saga, and we're just going round and round again on the merry-go-round.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing because I feel like James has said it all. Jack, you've said it all. I think that this Kane thing needs to end now. Figure it out. Is he staying or is he going? To me, it feels like this entire transfer window has been put on pause to figure out the Kane situation. So figure it out and get a move on, whether he stays or goes. Because right now, Daniel Levy, this is the most control you're going to have over him. And then that's it. Because come the next window, he's got 6 months. He can agree to something for the summer. And in the summer, he's free. And you'll be known as the guy who let Harry Kane go for free. So pick your cards, make a choice, and get a move on so that this season can go well with Ange Postecoglou.
We are going to wrap it up fairly soon. But the only thing I would say, right, on what you've just said, Andre, what you've said is correct. But why is this window hinging on what Harry Kane does? Because as I just said, whether we have Harry Kane or not, we still need a defense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Harry Kane goes or stays, right? It doesn't matter because we still need defenders with or without Harry Kane, right? That's right. What annoys me so much because this is an excuse for them to stall. This is an excuse for them to go, oh, we're sorting out the Harry Kane stuff, so we'll pause talking to Van de Ven and Tapsoba or whoever else. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I'll read a couple comments. Sorry, Andre, go on.
No, I agree. I agree. It shouldn't be, right? I said like these should be two completely different things. But if they're going to do this and make it that Harry Kane is the thing that we need to focus on it and just get it done now, like within the next 3 days, as Jack said, by Wednesday or something, get that done. I know that Bayern is constantly lowballing us. So make your decision. Tell them, like, okay, this next one that you bring in, you better bring us something good or it's over. And we're
exactly. Not lock them in a room for 6 hours and just say we're either finding an agreement right now or it's not going to happen. Because how many times do you want to pull up a meeting? How many times they're going to fly in from Germany? How many times is their chairman going to say he's going to be a player? He is or he isn't. Because find an agreement. Tottenham, don't be mugs and take money that he's not worth. Find your fee, say you're paying it or you're not, because right now it's extremely frustrating. And like I said, this merry-go-round is going to go on forever, and us as Spurs fans don't deserve it, and football fans don't deserve it, because it's extremely tiring and boring.
Yeah, and look, I've been a Tottenham fan, not as long as you guys, but I have one Tottenham jersey, and it has Harry Kane at the back. And even I'm the one saying that if it's his time to go, it's his time to go. Eventually, Harry Kane will not play for Tottenham. One day it will happen. You choose to decide how you want that to end.
There we go. Guys, it was a short live today. We have got to the end of the video. But before everyone does shoot and goes and goes to the other streams and stuff, if everyone here, there's 35 watching, could smash the like button, it would mean the world. If you did enjoy what you saw today, please, 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 please subscribe if you're new. Comment below if you're watching offline. Let us know your thoughts on the Harry Kane situation. Let us know what you thought about my rant where I've absolutely lost my head for the first time in a while. And
usually we're more positive, believe it or not. Usually we have a lot to talk about rather than just feeling like we're on the edge. But I tell you what, there are a lot of good things coming on this channel. I hope there's a lot of good things, maybe even a fantasy football that I'm sure we can sort out. So don't worry, if you are new, there is positivity. There's a lot of fun to be had. And like you say, there's always frustration, but that's the joys of being a football fan.
And guys, one more thing. We're gonna do a quiz on Wednesday night. We've got some special guests lined up and some quiz, which will be a bit more of a feel-good factor. Hopefully, cheer everyone up a little bit, even myself, because I've lost my head today, like I said. We'll do that on Wednesday. We've got plenty of content coming. If you guys do want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form other than the like and subscribe, there is a membership option in the description below. I think it's £1.99 or £2.50. As cheap as that. If you're in a position to do so, we greatly appreciate anyone that does so. Please do subscribe, like I'm going on now. And as always, guys, remember, come on, you Spurs! Sort it out.